So in this clip, I'm actually gonna quickly show you how to set up the depth mode in ARCore and activate that for your own AR applications. Now, unfortunately, I'm having trouble getting either recording or streaming of my Android mobile phone screen on my PC. So I'm just gonna have to, unfortunately, depend on the available images inside the ARCore manual page, and I won't be able to showcase the results of the thing here as well. But it should work because we are taking advantage of the existing system inside the Hello AR to get things running. Now, just a quick recap on what the depth API is. Basically, it's part of the feature set in ARCore that allows the app to actually occlude parts of an object based on, any existing, objects within your real world environment. So stuff like furniture, boxes, and all sorts of personal effects that might potentially affect the layout of your environment. And this image showcases that in full effect. So left-hand image basically shows the application with the depth mode off. And basically this test marker here, which was placed behind the chair, is actually overlapping the chair because the application has no idea of like the actual depth of the chair object, has no idea that, it's not actually part of the floor. And then on the right-hand image, it showcases the depth mode activated for the app. And because the app gets an idea of how the chair will actually look like within the real world, it's able to actually properly occlude parts of that test marker based on the shape of that chair. Now, how it's actually getting information about the shape of the chair is through the depth map here, as showcased on the images below. So on the right hand side, we have the depth map, which is basically like a color texture. And the application basically finds out about the shape of the object based on the actual colors surrounding the object right here. Now, you don't really have to worry too much about the exact colors and what they correspond to in terms of like occlusion values or, specifics of like the occlusion of the object, like the process, because again, like the code or the scripts are already set up for you that will, to do most of the heavy lifting. Really, the main thing that you have to worry about in your end is just activating the feature itself. Now, normally you'd actually have to write your own custom scripts that call on the various methods with the API in order to actually activate, the depth mode. But for this method that I'm going to show you, we're just going to piggyback off of what the Hello AR sample scene has already built for us. Now, first thing that I need you guys to do first, if you actually want to get this going, is I want you to take the depth menu object inside the Hello AR sample scene and make a prefab out of that. The way you do that is you just drag the depth menu object from the hierarchy window and then drag that to the project view window right here. And when you get that arrow cursor icon, you'll know that it'll actually create the prefab for you. I've already gone ahead and done that previously in my run. As you can see there, it's set up as a prefab object. Now the depth menu is basically this gear icon here on this image. And basically this is the menu that will let you do stuff like activate depth mode and show the depth map, which is like the two features that are showcased here on these sets of two images. And we're basically going to leverage the existing methods out of that depth menu in order to activate the depth API on our own projects. All right. So once you got that depth menu sorted out, you can then head over to your own scene for your own application. And the first thing that you want to do is you want to drag that depth menu prefab into your scene. And then at the same time, you want to create an event system for the UI itself, because the depth menu actually uses a canvas UI. If you want a review of how to create an event system, you want to head over to the game object create menu. So just right click on the hierarchy window, press on UI, and then select the event system option here at the bottom. The event system is basically the way we're going to figure out stuff like button presses and inputs and whatnot. So that's why we're actually adding that um, along with the depth menu. There are some values that you need to sort of put into the depth menu script in this object, but we'll worry about that later. And we're just going to go ahead and select the ARCore device. And then we need to add a depth preview prefab as a child of the first person camera here. As you can see there, I've already added that from, again, a previous run. If you want to know where to find the depth preview prefab, you just head over to Assets and then Google ARCore, Examples, Common, and then Prefabs, and you should be able to find that as depth preview here. So simply drag that into your scene here. Drag it and make it a child of the first person camera. And make sure that once you drag it, you deactivate the object, because otherwise you're just going to see this orange background here. So really, you're only looking to activate the depth preview when you actually want to showcase the depth map, because this is the object that's actually in charge of rendering that depth map, which is all run by this depth texture script here. Next, on the first-person camera object that's attached to your ARCore device, you want to add the depth effect script here, which you should be able to find in the the scripts folder under Common. So again, Assets, Google ARCore, and then Examples, and then Common, and then Scripts, and you should be able to see it as the very first script on this list. So just drag that there. And I've already added the script in this example, so I'm just not going to do that. And once you've added the depth effect script, you really only have two properties to worry about, so the occlusion shader and the depth menu. So I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that out. Now the depth menu, really for that, you just need to drag the depth menu object from your hierarchy to the property box here, and that should grab the appropriate script. But for the occlusion shader, what you want to do is you want to head over to, again, the common folder under examples in Google ARCore. And then you, instead of going to the scripts, you want to go to materials and then shaders. And what you're looking for here is the shader called occlusion image effect. So this is the shader file that will actually modify the rendering of your game object depending on the actual depth map information generated by the depth API. So you just want to drag occlusion image effect to the occlusion shader property box, and that is pretty much it. So there's a double check. You've got your first person camera, you've got your depth preview set up. That's good. So now you can head over back to the depth menu object, and then you can add the three values in your end that should be empty. First one being the plane discovery guide. So you just want to drag the plane discovery object into this one right here. If you need to know where to find the plane discovery prefab, you can just find that in the, again, the prefabs folder under common, under examples. So it should be this one right here. Once you've added plane discovery guide, you want to add the debug visualizer, which should correspond to your depth preview object, which again should be deactivated. So just drag this object here to debug the visualizer. And then you just need to assign camera to the first person camera here. And that should be pretty much it. So that's it for the game objects. Now all you need to do in order to actually activate depth mode is you just need to call the specific method within the depth menu script in your own custom script. So I've gone ahead and created a custom script here and called it activate depth API, and I just attached it to the depth menu here. And if we actually open it up, it's actually a really simple, like a really simple script. I just have a depth menu variable, which is public, which I'm going to basically modify in the inspector window. And then inside the start method, I just call a method from the depth menu called depth menu.configure depth before placing first asset. So this method here actually corresponds to this specific method here under the depth menu script, line 205. And basically, what this method does is it actually first checks if your device is capable of supporting depth mode. So the depth mode is only available for Android mobile devices with depth cameras along with their camera modules. So it's not going to support every single phone device, unfortunately. But once it does determine that the device is capable of supporting it, then it will actually activate the flags necessary to use depth mode. And basically from there, it's just a matter of placing your objects within your scene, and it will actually take effect. So like the occlusion, I mean. Again, I can't showcase the final results because unfortunately I don't have the recording, but that should hopefully work it out from your end. And that is pretty much it. So hopefully that helps. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.